So it is my absolute pleasure to invite up Courtney, who is 24 years old and born and raised in Dartmouth. She's been a member of Laing House for 4 years and is currently a psychology student at St. Mary's. It is my esteemed pleasure to invite you all to listen attentively to Courtney's story, as this is why we're all here this evening. Courtney.
I'm actually from Newfoundland, but that's okay. All right, so I'm so glad to meet all of you today. Some of you may already know a bit of my story, but I'm here to tell you a bit more of it. Mental illness has undoubtedly touched all of us in one way or another, and for me, it began at the age of 12 when I was being violently bullied at school, and I started to develop problems with my anxiety and my mood, among other normal teen problems. In 2013, I was finally diagnosed with chronic PTSD and depression, and everybody told me that now I was on the road to recovery, that it gets worse before it got better, and it absolutely got really bad. From the end of 2014 to mid-2015, I was hospitalized 3 times and spent nearly 5 months combined in hospital. That doesn't count the amount of times I called mobile crisis, or called a friend, or worried my mom at work when I told her how depressed I felt. There was also a fundamental disconnect with my perception of the services in Nova Scotia, especially regarding the barriers to support, and more notably, this considerable stigma that lurks within the clinicians treating us. 2 of those clinicians even wrongly diagnosed me with borderline personality disorder. Unfortunately, they also instilled a sense of despair in my parents that I'm still working hard to erase almost 4 years later. My mother still looks at me waiting for the other shoe to drop because the clinician's sense of hopelessness influenced what they thought would be my fate. Certain clinicians encouraged her and my dad to move me out of my house while I was still suicidal and struggling. Other people told paramedics not to take me to hospital because I had borderline personality disorder and it wouldn't help. They tell you go to the hospital when it gets bad, but what do you do when the system cannot support you or you experience stigma in those settings? What about the sense of hopelessness? Luckily, I met 2 people, one of whom was a psychiatrist, that were hopeful. They encouraged me to find that hope within myself, and I'm alive today because they didn't give up on me. For a long time, I was mentally wasting away at home because the reality is that mental illness is there even when you say, I'm just tired. It also wasn't easy for me to trust again due to my experiences. Instead of shying away, though, I took hope with me and ran with it. I tied it to every place I entered and left, and I encouraged it in everyone I meet. I fought stigma at every corner, using that inner spark to re-educate them. In return, Laing House changed my life. But it's not just a house, it's a community, a network, and a family whose motto is come as you are. And my first time being there as a member during the Christmas tree trimming party was exactly that, when 3 members I didn't know said hi to me, and 2 workers encouraged me to stay and decorate with everyone. From there, I made some of the best friends I have ever had the privilege of loving and knowing. We've made art together, had supper together, cried together, and laughed endlessly together. I was encouraged to stay in school. I was given the opportunity to do workshops, some of them even with clinicians. I was encouraged to do speeches, peer support training, and I'm going to graduate in the spring with a degree in psychology. Thank you. We go to Pride every year, and we have a little group for the LGBTQ+ community as well. And I'm even proud to say that with the help of my friends at Laing House, I came out as gay last week to my family, who are extremely supportive. Frankly, Laing House's acceptance and sense of hope is fundamental in allowing people to reorient their lives and reintegrate into wellness. What Laing House does is important for me, not only for my own journey, but because in January of 2017, I lost an amazing friend to her mental illness. If I lived in the United States like she did, or anywhere else that doesn't have a place like this, that easily could have been me. In fact, it's almost been 4 years, or 1,270 days, since I've been in hospital for my mental health. Laing House inspires hope in all of us there. Not only do we need to instill hope, it is fundamental that we change the language surrounding mental health. Why do we use the word recovery when it implies a before and after, a solid past and present, a starting line and a finish line? If you have the stomach flu and you recover from it, it means that the virus has died out and you no longer have the flu. Mental illness isn't like the flu. There's no virus to die out and you aren't a before and after. Mental wellness is a continual personal growth, a constant healing journey, whereas recovery implies that there is some sort of cure. We need words like radical acceptance, mindfulness, wellness, and we need to shatter the barriers to receiving mental health care. We need to revolutionize the way we perceive mental health, not only with the media, but with clinicians as well. Mental illness is not a choice, but we are able to make a difference by choosing to build hope. So I'll leave you with this quote, and I hope you take it with you on your journey. Hope is like the sun. If you only believe in it when you can see it, you'll never make it through the night. Thank you.